request Dr. Sila Tripati, former Principal Technical Officer, Marine Archaeology Center, CSIR National Institute of Oceanography, Goa. Sir.
Yeah, thank you. Namaskar. Today is a very, I will say that very lucky in the presence of my own teachers and friends, as well as my youngster colleagues. I will be presenting the work what me and my colleagues have done at NIO Goa when I was there on the maritime archaeology, that is Kalinga, Orissa with Southeast Asia. And see, the thing is this, before coming to this maritime archaeological studies or archaeological research, before the beginning of this study, like Birupaksha Kara or R.C. Majumdar or D.P. Ghosh, O.C. Ganguly, during those days, the possible literature, whatever was available, based on that, they had made the theories, they had drawn their conclusions. Okay. Then subsequently, the second group of scholars, including our Odisha people, scholars from Odisha and scholars from Bengal, they had also provided some new theories, new things. And lastly, these archaeological studies came to light, which takes back the history much back than what they had suggested. For instance, then we will say that our Orisian temple or Orisian sculpture or Orisian art is resembling with Southeast Asian art or Southeast architecture. Those things comes in the later period, maybe 7th, 8th century, 9th century, like that. But when we are talking about archaeology, it goes to your 3rd century BC and prior to that. Even also during the time of Gautama Buddha, that is NVP period. And before going into details, since I thought my youngster colleagues are there, so I should share with them what is the meaning of a port and what is the meaning of a harbor. Whenever we are talking about a maritime contracts, we have to understand what is the difference between port and a harbor. Secondly, we should know also what type of ports are there. In scientific, in geographical or in oceanographical point, we have to see that the ports were divided into three groups: littoral, estuary, and tidal. If we will see the literature, Shilpa Shastra mentions about two types of ports. Secondly, generally we find the ports at these places. See, wherever there was a port, the main objective of the port was a boat should come, they should anchor, they should carry out their repair, they should, there should be a marketplace for their exchange of cargo, there should be even facilities to store their cargo. So these are the places where we will find ports were located even today also. And these are the structures generally we found in the port sites and harbors. The earliest maritime trade of our India goes back to Harappan period, and that is, the green area, that pink color one was called Melua. So in the Mesopotamian seals, it has been mentioned that the people, those who were coming from Melua, they were the Harappans. And we do not know much about our contacts. We know the contacts, but from our Indian side, we do not know much because the seals and sealings where we find the inscriptions, those things are not deciphered. But we know the contact of Harappan period with Mesopotamia after the decipherment of Mesopotamian cuneiform script. So in the cuneiform script we find these details which suggest that India's contact with the Mesopotamian culture during Harappan period. If we will see the history of ports of India, there were more than 200 ports all along the east and west coast of India in different periods of history. And if we will see in the east coast of India, coming to Bengal, Orissa, Tamil Nadu and Andhra, similarly there were a number of ports in different periods of history, and those were also had hinterland as well as mainland connections. Coming back to Orissa, you know that whenever we are talking about nowadays Orissa, we are confined to present day Orissa. But if we will take the Kalinga, that is from Tamralipti to up to Godavari, then only we will find a lot of information, and it will be helpful for us to reconstruct our exact maritime trade. When we talk about the ports of Orissa, we talk Palluru or Calcutta Patana or Manika Patana or so many like that, but we never talk about Dantapura, we never talk about Kalinga Pattanam or Bengi or your Pithunda and all those things. Recently, at Guntupalli near Vijayawada, the inscription of Kharavala has been recovered. So which provides a new light on our, the rule of Kharavala to Bengi, that is Bengi Puri, that is Guntupalli. So during Kharavala's time, Pithunda was a port. Okay, and Pithunda is a Pistapura present day where Jaina images has been recovered, and those are worshipped in a temple in Pistapura. So that means that Kharavala, the extension of his empire was up to Pithunda. So when we talk about Pithunda, when we take the archaeological evidences of Pithunda, then we will have a better picture about maritime context of Orissa or Kalinga. And you know that in maritime trade, we are mostly confined with southern Orissa. We have very less limited information on the northern Orissa, but the present day studies like my good friend Sunil Patnaik from his institute, that Durga Devi Archaeological Survey of India, they have excavated some sites near Konark and Sakhi Gopal, I think. That Suabarai and Benupatra is doing some work on the literature point of view from the northern Orissa. So now we are coming to, some more information on our northern parts of Orissa. But one thing we should remember, why we do not have much maritime activities in the northern Orissa, the reason is from Ganga, river Ganges, this your Budabalang, all the rivers, they discharge so much of sediment into the Bay of Bengal. So the present study shows that the nowadays already small islands has been formed in the Bay of Bengal, and even in Baleswar, where my teacher Professor Raut has worked and Professor Patnaik has worked. You know, the sea is 10 to 15 kilometers, the similar bay in Nizamapatnam near Vijayawada area. Because the sedimentation is so much, so during those days, coming up a boat to the mainland along the river for anchoring was difficult. And if they will be coming, again going, because they have to depend on the tidal water, high tide and low tide, then only they can come and then only they can go. For again, there is another port, Calcutta Patana. You people might be very much familiar with the findings. Here what we have done, we have studied the regions why the Calcutta Patana declined. Because the river Kusabhadra, because of the changing of the pattern, we have taken the remote sensing data, we have taken that data from the maps, various maps, that hydrography chart maps. We have observed that the river course is changing very frequently. That could be the main reason for the decline of Calcutta Patana. Similarly, Manika Pattanam, one thing is there. Some of scholars of Orissa, they claim that what Vengsa has told, that Chalitala could be Manikapatna or Chilika could be Manikapatna. But if you will see the oceanographic point of view, there are a lot of questions are coming up. Okay, unless until we have a proper answer to those questions, it will be very difficult to accept whether Vengsa's Chalitala could be at Chilika area or not. These are the findings from Manikapatna, and no doubt along the Chilika Lake there were a number of ports, boat building centers, and minor ports were there. Gaurangapatna recently, Deccan College and Professor K.K. Basana, who is the DGSI, and our institute and Sunil Patnaik, everything, we have surveyed this area, and we have found early historical pottery and all those things, which is going back to 1st, 2nd century BC AD. Similarly, this is another site is called Kankia Khuda. Because why Konkia Kudo is important, during Shailadhwaja dynasty, that Bankada area in near near Balugaon, probably these areas of Chilika were providing proper facilities for carrying out the trade with Southeast Asia. Now, see, here, what is happening, starting from Tamaralipti, Bengal to Korka in Tamil Nadu, these were the ports as well as the trade centers in early historical period. These are the sources from where we can get the information about maritime trade. Now, epigraphic, if we will see, during 5th, 6th century BC, a group of people called Polindas, they were using the script called Damili, and though the people were migrated from Orissa, Bengal and Bihar, and those inscriptions on the Damili is found in Anuradhapura. Secondly, Devanam, that Sri Lankan king had given gift to King Asoka, and King Asoka had given gift to Sri Lankan kings, and even during the Asokan's time, in Mahavansha, there is a mention of Sri Lankan goods which were coming to Orissa or Kalinga. These are the further inscriptional evidences. The earliest inscriptional evidence comes on Kalinga is from Kalidi, that is in Indonesia, 900 AD. Okay, no doubt we have these kind of inscriptional evidences from Indonesia, where we have the reference to the mariners, sculptors and business people. But the recent finding from Indonesia, Bali in 1965, 20 copper plates were found in Sembiran, which was a early historical port where a lot of Indian evidences has been recorded or discovered. There the copper plate inscriptions specifically mention to Kalingas and Bengalis and others. This has been published widely in Indonesia and Bali. Coming back to another thing, when we talk about our contacts with Southeast Asia, here we cannot confine only to Orissa or Kalinga. We have to take east coast of India or India in general. So, there is a type of pottery called Northern Black Polished Ware, which is called NBP, datable to 6th century. Now the recent study goes much further back. Okay, this pottery is found all along the Indian coast only up to Sri Lanka. 6th century BC, in the east coast of India, India had contact up to Sri Lanka, not beyond Sri Lanka. This is the type of pottery, NVP. The another pottery came to little later period, that is presently this pottery is taken back to 3rd century BC. This is called roulated pottery. This pottery is found Sri Lanka, including Red Sea coast, Persian Gulf, all over Southeast Asia. That means archaeologically, now we can prove 100% confirm that up from 3rd century BC onwards, India had 100% trade cultural contacts with Southeast Asia, starting from Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia, Java, Sumatra, Persian Gulf and Red Sea coast. These are the type of pottery found from foreign countries. There is another type of pottery, very interesting. This is called knobbed ware. And we have a first paper on a detailed paper on Odisha published in Man and Environment. And I have used the word Kalinga ware. The reason is in 1954 or 55 when B.P. Lal excavated Shishpalgarh, for the first time that pottery was found. Subsequently, Devla Mitra, the former DG of ASI, she excavated Jaugarh, this pottery was found. Okay, subsequently this pottery found from different places. This is first. Even the same way we are giving the name Harappan culture because it was found in Harappa, so we call it Harappan culture. And we found it in Orissa, so I have called it Kalingan Bay. Secondly, this is the first pottery. More than 50 to 60 sites of Orissa has reported, not in anywhere else. No doubt this pottery is found from Banaras to up to Tamil Nadu, Pondicherry, but the maximum number of sites is from Odisha. Banda hoigala? Hello? This is the pottery type. Okay? It is a knobbed ware. जो माटी पात्र अच्छी माटी पात्र जो आम डाली सांबार खाऊंती से टाइप पात्र यहाँ बाउलटा ता भितरे गोटे गोजिया थाई कि गोवा टाइप ता सर्किल्स अच्छी यही पटरी यही जो नॉब्ड वेयर ही एथिरे हमको माटीर मिलुची पत्थर मिलुची रूपार मिलुची सुनार मिलुची आ कौन सी पटरी माटी पात्र छड़ा अन्य कौन सी पटरी नहीं ए पर्यंत. So this pottery has played a very major role in trade and 100% associated with Buddhism. एटा साउथ ईस्ट एशिया रे जो थाईलैंड रे मिली वेस्टर्न जावा रे मिली वियतनाम रे मिली या व्यतीत मुझे जो कहूली जो हाइटिन नॉब्ड आमको बांग्लादेश रे मिलूची आउ साउथ ईस्ट एशिया रे मिली बंद होगा. Okay, this is another type of pottery. This is another type of pottery. The exchange of goods where you know that spices was going, and it is not that only spices were going, even we were also bringing spices. Labanga Deepa. We call Labanga Deepa to Southeast Asia, some of the islands. That means we were bringing cloves from Southeast Asia. These are the semi-precious stone beads. The reason is now either pottery or beads or anything, if we will do scientific analysis, we have done scientific analysis. We found one stone anchor in Manikapatana. Okay, we did isotopic analysis. There is a story, if I will tell, this will be, disconnection, so I am not telling, because if we will do the scientific analysis related to the artifact or related to the material, we will have a proper conclusion. Instead of historically or archaeological drawing a conclusion, but if you will take scientific data, the conclusion will be authentic and there won't be any bias kind of decisions. Sir. Another thing, we are talking about in Orissa's contact with the Roman world. Friends, so far we do not have direct evidences of Orissa or Kalinga's maritime contact with Rome. We do not have direct evidence. No doubt, this papyrus, there is a mention of ivory, okay, and the Periplus has mentioned about ivory of Dosaruni, probably in Sambalpur area, and this trade was indirect. These are the coins. Because we do not have representation of earliest evidence of boat building or a boat in Orissa context, but we have in the later period, we have the evidences of boats in temple architecture as well as stone sculptures. These are the boat building technology in northern part of Orissa. Even Chilika Lake is also it is there, Chilika Lake area. And who were the traders? Now we have lot of evidences. Who were the traders? no doubt, Buddhist people and Hindu people. Okay, and we have lot of earliest evidences of Buddhism. In later period, we are having the influence of Hinduism in all over Southeast Asia. See, this is from Malaysia. We are having the evidences of both Hindu and Buddhist evidences. This is from Thailand, Indian pottery, Indian sculptures, both Hinduism and Buddhism. These are is also from Thailand. Okay. This is from Vietnam, Indian pottery, Indian coins, seals, shillings. And we are talking about the monsoon wind. Okay. The monsoon wind, there were two type of monsoon, which is one is southwest, that is called summer monsoon or return monsoon. The people were coming from Red Sea coast, Persian Gulf to India, and from during your northeast monsoon, that is called trade winds. And see, when there was no landmarks in later period, Puri Jagannath temple and your Konark were used as the landmark, this one source sighting sites, and this is the monsoon wind. And I have an extensive paper who were the early users of monsoon wind. And today morning we were talking about Hippolos. Hippolos is mentioned by Periplus. Hippolos was mentioned by Periplus and two more scholars. Nobody is mentioning Hippolos, the discoverer of monsoon wind, and his date is 45 AD. But we are having the evidences of 3rd century BC, 4th century BC. That means Indians were aware of the monsoon wind and the Indians were used monsoon wind. And this is the Bali Yatra. And we are talking about now, आमर मेरीटाइम ट्रेड एते बड़ थिला एते पुराना थिला आमर एविडेंसेस कहीं की नहीं. द रीजन इज हिस्टोरिकली आम कहते युद्ध है टैक्स थिला एमती थिला किंतु नेचुरल फोर्सेस आम मानक पढ़ा पड़ो जो सैंड बार इरोजन एगुड़ा आम मैंने सर ये बर्तमान आम गोटे स्टडी करूँ साइक्लोन रो इम्पैक्ट ऑन द कोस्टल स्ट्रक्चर्स एंड मोनुमेंट्स 2011 करेन्ट साइंस रे आमर गोटे पेपर अच्छी से पेपर जदि आप देखिए देन द इम्पैक्ट एंड द नेचर ऑफ डिस्ट्रक्शन along the coastal sides. And आज को 1000 वर्ष पूर्वे वर्तमान सीमेंट व्यवहार होची आयरन यूज ब्रिक्स यूज होची those days only thatched roofs and mud bricks. If there will be a heavy rain, how can we expect the 2000 years old structures on the coastal area? And this is the impact. Thank you.